So okay, let's go for the second one. Yeah, let's say I cut this up into 3 separate videos, so welcome back. I'm not gonna do this entire intro again. If you're just tuning in, watch the last video where I do welcome you guys. So this is gonna be a short one because there's no intro, there's no outro. But this beer has all the exact same specifics as the last one. So the Weller and this Heaven Hill bourbon aged beer are 14.5%, are Imperial Stouts by Galea Craft Beers in Brasschaat. And they are both brewed with coffee beans, vanilla, cocoa beans and cinnamon. The only difference is that the Weller one had 24 months on Weller bourbon barrels, what's in the name, and this one has 24 months on Heaven Hill bourbon barrels. Now I wish I was a bourbon fanatic and I could tell you the difference. Unfortunately I am not and I can't, so yeah. Again, the ingredients: malted barley, malted wheat, water, hops and yeast. Apart from the aforementioned same label, a very nice painting of Antwerp with its cathedral in the harbor. And yeah, you can see that this label, it had a life of its own, because these have seen the inside of a Rubens backpack on a motorcycle. That's never good for any label. So let's try this one as well. And for the red label, we'll take the red logo glass. Yes, these are Duvel glasses. Again, quite thick, quite oily. I have to work to get foam on there. That is of course a combination of the style and the age of this beer. I'm not gonna say stout is hard to get a foam head on, but barrel aged beers are notoriously harder to get a nice head on, and then very strong barrel aged stouts with a hint of acidity. Yeah, but here as well we saw that this has a I might imagine, but this had a lighter brown head of foam. Apart from that, the beer itself is also pitch black. It doesn't leave any light through. Ooh, the runoff is even slower on this one. Even though the brewing process and the fermentation and the first lagering were the exact same in the first and the second beer, and the third one as well. It's just that the aging that is different, so I am very curious what the differences are. Aroma wise, I feel like this one is a bit softer, a bit lighter, a bit sweeter. I feel like the Weller was way heavier, and if I was a bourbon connoisseur, I would have known that, and I could have switched up the order instead of basing myself on the color of the labels, because that is how I decided this order. It's like not even alphabetical, because I'm not that kind of nerd after all. But yeah, this smells really pleasant. I feel like I get more of the vanilla in here. Again, not a lot of cinnamon, tiny hint, but that gets pushed out of the way because vanilla is a dominant aroma. And I do get less alcohol, less bourbon here. Now that might mean that the Weller barrels weren't empty. Like I said, it tasted very infused. And these barrels might have been empty. Also, these barrels might have been younger, so the beer might have taken a bit more of the woody characteristics, meaning boosting the vanilla. I don't know, I'll have to find out in a second. Yeah, but this is more like chocolate and vanilla, whereas the Weller was more dark chocolate and coffee. I don't really get coffee in the nose in this one. Ooh. Oh yeah, this is very different. The base beer is just as good as expected, as it should be. Um, but for me personally, this one is immediately more pleasant. Why? Because it is a bit less heavy. Um, the first one was an extreme heavy hitter. This one is softer, is lighter, or at least in the flavor, because it's also a 14.5. I do get a lot of cocoa nibs in here. Still dark chocolate, quite bitter, but a bit sweeter than the last one, and creamier. And I don't mean, well, the mouthfeel is again oily, strong effervescence, so carbonation on point, definitely, quite high even. But I do think that these barrels might have been younger. It took a lot more of the woody characteristics. It's woodier. It is a slightly more astringent, but also slightly sweeter. More vanilla, oak. Uh, Interesting. Now, I do urge you guys at home to do the same. Not with these beers; these are discontinued. But if you have a brewery that barrel ages the same beer in different barrels, please make this an exercise for yourself and enjoy yourself. Invite a couple of mates to do so. Um, Same goes for same beer, different age. If you have the chance, for example, get 4 different years of Orval or Westvleteren or Saint Bernardus or whatever, Gouden Carolus. Cuvée van de Keizer, the Emperor's Cuvée. Compare separate brewing years, compare whatever. As a taster, this is what made me from a decent taster into a good taster. And I don't have many talents, but I do dare to call myself a good taster. Um, of course, I have dedicated 25 years of my life to it, so I may hope that I'm pretty good at it. But yeah, this is a very good exercise and a very cool experiment, which people like Geo enable us to do. Yeah, I particularly love this one. Um, the aftertaste is also very pleasant. It's downright awesome in the sense that it's like I'm having chocolate milk with a shot of bourbon. Um, so a very Christmassy feel, very Christmas market. Um, yeah, really nice. God damn, Geo. I should call him out on this because like we live like 6 streets apart, or 6 blocks apart. Yeah, awesome aftertaste in this one. So up until now, the Weller is good. The Heaven Hill is fantastic. Might I say heavenly? Um, yeah. If this one was a 375, this one would probably be a 4, maybe 425. Um, Even without taking the style into account. It's not my favorite style, but this is just really, really awesome. And this goes to show that conditioning can make or break a beer, or can make a beer even better. That is, of course, a common story. It is like that with Gueuze, with Lambic, with anything barrel aged, with anything dry hopped. Okay. I really wish I invited a friend for this. Okay. Yeah. Let's say this is the end of part 2, and I'll see you guys again in 1 minute or a few days, depending on how I cut this.